Welcome to my project, the United States Postal Service and how they utilize their postal carriers. Here is the entire process the United States Postal Service uses to send a letter from one location to another. We will be focusing on the last two steps, going from the local post office to the addressee. Here is the distribution of my local post office. All of the routes in gray are what my post office covers. The route in blue is my route, with my house being the red star. On the left, you see the breakdown of my route. There are 223 residences in my route and 0 businesses. Here, you see all of the routes in my post office's area. The routes are on the left. You then see the residences inside of the route, the businesses inside of the route, and the total. Then I have calculated the processing time in minutes, hours, and then the capacities. I figured out that there was about 30 seconds per residential delivery and 4 minutes per business. I was not able to find this information anywhere, but it makes sense to me. You are going to take a quicker time putting something in a mail slit than you are navigating a business and dropping something off. Looking at the sheet, there appears to be an obvious bottleneck, which is highlighted in yellow. However, the bigger problem is that all of the other routes are not utilized enough. An 8-hour workday seems pretty fine for any individual route. However, having one person for all of the other routes does not make sense and is a poor use of post office resources. So we have to figure out how to combine the other routes to have the most optimal usage of our post office employees. This very messy chart is how I optimized it. I will show it in an easier to read chart in a second, but what I did was I grouped areas together that could be done by one person. Now, I did not account for how far away each route is because they are both close enough to be within a reasonable geographic area, no matter the route, because it's all with my local post office. All of the similar colors have been grouped together, as I will show in the following chart. This way, people are being utilized more for appropriate tasks. This chart is a much easier to read version of what I had on the previous slide. Here, on the left, we see all of the routes that were grouped together, their residences, their businesses, and their total, and then the processing time, capacity, and utilization. All of the routes have a maximum of a 9-hour workday, as that is pretty standard in the United States. We see on the bottom the one route that is not being utilized enough. All of the other routes have at least 7 hours of processing time and a fairly high utilization number. However, the bottom route I was not able to fit into any other of the route groups, therefore leaving it out and having it have a very low utilization number, therefore not optimally using the post office's resources. We will get into how the post office could fix this now. In order to help the post office's current problem, we can look to the future. The United States Postal Service is currently investing in technologies like drones and driverless cars. Drones would be much more inefficient, but also less expensive, as they would fly from the post office to one house, back to the post office, back to another house, and so on. However, both of these technologies would allow the post office to have a smaller labor force and therefore run more efficiently. Driverless cars could just take some of the routes that drivers do, while as drones could help them along the route. This is the same chart as before, but without the poorly utilized route. If that route was taken over by drones or by a driverless car, the post office would not need to worry about underutilizing an employee. All of their employees would now be focused on routes that could be done within a 9-hour workday, but that gives them good utilization numbers. If the post office were to invest in more driverless cars, more of these routes could be taken over and the post office could run even more efficiently. Thank you very much. Please let me know if you have any questions.